Imagine a wall of ice 200 feet high suddenly blocking a major river. That's exactly what happened in 1928, when a massive glacier in the remote Himalayas created one of history's most precarious natural dams.
That sounds incredibly dangerous. How does something like that even happen?
Well, it's fascinating. In this region of the Karakoram Range, you had these three massive glaciers that would sometimes surge forward down steep mountain slopes. The geography was perfect for disaster, with peaks over 22,000 feet, creating these unstoppable rivers of ice.
So these weren't just ordinary glaciers slowly creeping along.
Not at all. These glaciers would actually advance rapidly, and in this case, one of them pushed right across the Shyok River Valley until it hit the cliffs on the other side. The result was this enormous natural dam that created a lake 10 miles long and up to 2 miles wide.
That's an incredible amount of water building up. What happened to all the people living downstream?
That's what had everyone so worried. The newspapers were publishing all sorts of alarming predictions about what would happen when it finally broke. A naturalist named F. Ludlow actually made 2 separate attempts to study the dam up close.
Well, that must have been quite an adventure. How close did he get?
You know what's fascinating? On his first attempt, he discovered that what looked like manageable ice formations from a distance were actually massive ice pinnacles over 100 feet high. When he tried to ford the streams below the glacier, he nearly got swept away in waist-deep water with quicksand underneath.
That sounds terrifying. Did he give up after that close call?
Oh, no. He made a second attempt from the south and got within half a mile of the dam. But then he ran into this impossible situation: deep pools of the river on one side, sheer cliffs on the other. He could only observe through binoculars this massive black structure covered in rocks and debris.
So what happened to all the trade through this region? I imagine this must have disrupted everything.
Well, that's where the story gets really dark. During his journey, Ludlow reached this place marked on his map as having 3 huts. When he got there, and this is chilling, he found them occupied by 2 dead animals and a dead trader. Nearby, he even found a shelter containing 3 human skulls.
That's incredibly grim. Were conditions always that harsh in the area?
The region was notorious for its dangers. We're talking about a trade route that went through the Karakoram Pass at 18,000 feet. Traders had to deal with extreme altitude, unpredictable weather, and treacherous terrain. And now this massive ice dam threatening to burst at any moment.
Did it eventually collapse as everyone feared?
Here's the surprising part. Despite all the alarming predictions, the dam actually held through that summer. But what's really interesting is that Ludlow noticed evidence of previous lakes along the valley walls, terraces about 100 feet above the current water level, showing this wasn't a one-time event.
It's amazing how relevant this story feels to our current climate crisis.
Exactly right. The way they covered this potential disaster sounds remarkably similar to how we discuss climate threats today. That same tension between warning people and avoiding alarmism. And just like today, they were trying to predict exactly when and how a natural disaster might unfold.
Though I imagine their monitoring capabilities were pretty limited back then.
You'd be surprised. Ludlow made some impressive observations with basic tools. He calculated the lake was rising about 1.5 feet every 24 hours during warm days. He even noted how the rate varied significantly with temperature changes, showing a pretty sophisticated understanding of glacier dynamics for someone who wasn't a specialist.
Sounds like his observations might still be valuable for understanding similar events today.
That's exactly right. His detailed descriptions of the glacier's structure and behavior provided valuable historical data that helps us understand how these ice dams form and fail. And with climate change accelerating glacier melt worldwide, these kinds of historical records are more relevant than ever.